So the first question is that explain a string position. So a string position is for finding out the position of a string or a character inside a bigger string. Okay. So so this is the string in which I have to search, and this is the string that I need to search. Now a string position, this function will give a first occurrence. So like in this example, if you see, this is a string, is coming 2 times. Okay, so if I want to know the position of is, it will return me the first position. So first position, usually it will start from 0. So 0, 1 and 2. So this function will output me 2. Okay, now next is we'll look onto some mathematical functions. So suppose there is a dollar array. So I can print min value, means the minimum value inside this array. So it will give me the min value. So minimum value is 1. And similarly, I can print the max value. So max value is 7. Then you can use, there are other functions like ceiling function, floor function, abs function for getting the absolute value, like echo abs minus 1.2. Okay, so absolute value will just make the any negative number into positive. So instead of minus 1/2, it will become 1/2. And then there is a round function. Okay, so round function will basically round the value. So like 1.6 round. So it will give you 2. Let me remove the first one. So 1.6 will give you 2, because it will more than 0.5, it will go to the next integer. Less than 0.5, it will go to the previous integer. So if I type echo round to 1.2, then it will round up to 1. Okay, so this is round function. And similarly, there are sqrt, square root function. Then there is a pi function for printing the value of the pi. If you want to calculate like circumference of or area of a circle, then you can use 2 into pi function into r. Okay, so the pi function is this pi. It will give you the value of pi. 3.141958 dash. Okay, so these are now one important function. So one important function is a random function. So usually we require many times we need to use the random function for generating a random value. Okay, so this is the function rand function which is used for generating a random value. So like in case of generating, suppose like I want to generate a OTP. So OTP is a random um, uh, integer of a definite length. So like some OTP are 4 length, 6 length, 5 length. So that is the OTP. So we can generate using rand. Now, so like this is some random number that is generated. Now, if I want to generate a random number in a range, okay, so like rand between 11 to 99. So in this way, I can specify the min value and the max value. So between this min and max value, you have to generate the a random number. So between 11 and 99, you have to generate it. Let me first comment the first random function. So now you can see that it is 95. I can keep running. Every time it will give me a separate value, but it will be between 11 and 99. Okay, now next is I can use this rand function to generate a fixed length value. So like I want to generate a 6-digit OTP. Okay, so we can write a function suppose generate OTP, and then length I will put it as variable. Okay, so generate OTP of a particular length. Now I will run a for loop. So basically what I'm doing is that I am generating, I want to generate for a particular length. Okay. So for till length, I will try to generate a, for each value like unit position, 10th position, 100th position, 1000th position. For each value, I will generate a random number. Now for each position, the random number will be in the range. What range it will be? 0 to 9. Of course, for each position it will be from 0 to 9. And then I'm adding that, whatever value has been generated between 0 to 9 to this array. Now I will print this array. Okay. Now let us call this function. So generate OTP of the length, suppose 4. So I want to generate a OTP of the length 4. Now it will go to this OTP, generate OTP. How many times the loop will run? It will run 4 times. Every time it will generate a random number between 0 to 9 and add it to this array. This is the way. Now, so 7, 5, 6, 3. These are the 4 elements which are inside this OTP array. Now array doesn't look good. So what I will do is I will use a function implode, and implode is for joining the array. So implode will join the array, and then okay, so implode function is for joining the array into a single string. and this is the separator. So currently I have not put any separator. So let me show you. So 3247. Now if I put any separator, suppose I put here comma, so it will be 3 comma 2 comma 4 comma, so comma will be every time. So I don't want to put any comma, so I will not use this. Simply implode, and every time you can see there will be a new number that is generated. So it's a 4-digit OTP. Okay, so this is how I can generate OTP of a particular length. Now next important thing is session. Okay, so we'll try to create session, and then we'll try to access that session, and once the work of the session is done, we'll try to destroy the session. Now session is like a super global. So session is a super global which will be accessible to all the pages. Okay, so the question is explain implode. So implode is basically adding the element of an array using a glue. So it will simply combine all the values of an array in a string. Now for combining the values, I can use any combiner, like I can use a comma. So every number will be separated by comma. If I use dollar, every number will be separated by a dollar. So like if I write dollar here, so every number, after every number, a dollar will come. $5, $8, $5, 9. Now I don't want any dollar, so I have kept it blank. So only 7179. So we will directly get the OTP. So implode is for basically joining the element of an array and return the string. Now, so to focus on session. So using session, we can store some values which will be accessible through all the pages. Okay, so in C++ also, or C, you would have learned about global variables, so which are accessible to everyone. In classes also, we generate classes, public classes, which will be accessible to everyone. Now here we in the web world, we use session and cookie for storing the some of the variables which will be accessible to each and every page. So you can declare it on one page and it will be accessible on all other different pages. So for that purpose, we use session and cookies. Now session is stored on the server side. So what is the difference between session and cookie? So session is stored on the server side, whereas cookie is maintained on the client side. Client means the browser. So if you change the browser, your cookie will also change. Now, if there is a way of transferring cookie from one browser to another, so in that case, you can easily transfer your logins. So like if you have logged into suppose Chrome, so your cookies is stored. If you transfer that cookie to Firefox and then log in to their Facebook, automatically your login will be successful. You don't ask you to log in again. Okay, so session is for storing values on the server side, which will be accessible to all other pages. Okay, so usually what we do is that we store like if someone logs in on our website, we will create a session and use that session to validate on each page whether he is logged in or not. So without login, if suppose he, like on facebook.com, if without login he's trying to access home.php, so it will redirect him back to the login.php. So we'll simply check whether his session is not there or not. If his session is not there, so we'll redirect him to the login page. Okay. And once he logs out, on the logout page, we will destroy his session. Okay. So so for this demo purpose, we will take 3 pages. So one is suppose page 1.php. Now second will be page 2.php, and third one will be page 3.php. Okay. Now on page 1, I will create the session. Now remember, for creating this, either for creating or for accessing or destroying anything, the first thing is this function session_start. If you want to either create or access or destroy any session variable, then you must write this session_start on the top of the page. Remember, on the top of the page. Even if you are using any HTML tag also, like after this, if I write HTML, so it should be before that HTML. Session_start should always be before, on the top of the page. This is very important, remember. Next, so once the session has been started, there is a super global array, so which is called $_session. So there is a super global array $_session, in which I can store all the values. So this is an array, so I will use like name, okay. So session_start is common for all the pages. So wherever I am trying to create session, or I am trying to access session, or I am trying to destroy session, so I have to use this function. Next is how I can create a session value. So session value can be created using this super global. It's a variable which is accessible everywhere. So I will use $_session, and then what will be the name of the session and what will be the value of the session. Similarly, I can create another session. User ID. And user ID can be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have created 2 session variables. One is name, one is user ID. The value of the name is Anup and the value of user ID is 1, 2, 3, 4. So as soon as someone logs in on your website, you need to create session with some of the unique values. So this is how we create a session. Okay, super global. What is super global? So super global array is an array which is accessible on all the pages. I don't have to declare this array. It is already there. I just have to access this array. So I can add element, I can remove element, and that's all. So it is already there in our PHP system. We just have to access it. So for session, this is the super global array $_session, in which I am storing some key value pairs. Now let us go to page number 2, and here we will try to access our session variables. Now to access any session variable, of course, first step will be session_start. Without that, I cannot access. Second thing is, I can simply print the session variables using this. Suppose I want to print user ID, so I will write this echo $_session and user ID. So it will print me the user ID. Okay, now let us go to page 2.php and try to print. So will it print something? No, because session has been set on page number 1. So first we need to go to page number 1. Now page number 1 has run. I will again come back to page number 2 and refresh it. Now this time it will print the user ID. So first step is you have to create the session, and second step is access the session. Now here I directly access the session without checking whether session is there or not. Okay, for checking that, there is a function which I will write inside if loop. If is set, so is set is a function which will check whether the session variable is set or not. So is set echo, or otherwise echo session, sorry, else echo session not set. So is set is a function to check whether the session is set or not. So it will return a boolean. So if it is true, it will print the value, else it will give the message that session not set. Now let us see. So currently the session is set, so it will give the value. Okay, so Damini is asking why there is a need for session. So there is a need for session because we want to check whether like in dynamic programming language, I want to check whether a user is logged in or not. Okay. Second thing is I want to share any value on different page. So suppose on facebook.com you logged in. Now on the next page, once you go on like home.php or wall.php or friends.php, does it ask you to log in again? No, because it has stored your login credential into the session, and depending on your user ID is automatically fetching your friend list or your posts or your photos, your albums. So everything it is automatically fetching. So similarly here also, on one page we set the session variables, and on other page we will directly use those session variables to fetch your records. Sai Chaitanya is asking what is the role of cookies. Let me go to cookies first. Let me finish this first. So session is used for setting the value at one place and accessing across all different pages. Next question is session used for validation of HTML pages? No. Session is only used to validate the login, and depending on the login, the session can be used to fetch information. So I can check session like user ID. So if user ID is not set, so instead of giving the message session not set, I will redirect him to the login page. Now third page, I will destroy the session. Now to destroy the session, there are two ways. One way is I can destroy individual variable using unset. So unset $_session, and then inside that whatever variable I want to unset. So user ID. So this is one way. Now in this case, user ID won't be shown, but if I print $_session name, so name will be visible. So let me first run this page 2. So page 2, there will be two things, the user ID and then the name. Two things are there. Now I will try to run page 3. So once page 3 has been run, so page 3 there is a code for unsetting the user ID. So now if I run page 2, so user ID won't be there. So what it will say? session not set. Sorry, it's page 2. So page 3, let me run page 3 and then go to page 2. It will say that session is not set. Why? Because the condition of checking is on user ID. Now let me set it on name. So if I change it on name, then in that case name is there, only user ID has been unset, so it will print the name. Okay, so this is how can I can unset one variable. Now if I want to destroy entire session, so I can use session underscore destroy. So session underscore destroy. So in this case, if I go to page 3 and then if I come back to page 2, even name is destroyed, so it will say session is not set. Okay, so what is the takeaway? That first thing is for accessing any session variable, I need to write session underscore start on the top of the page before anything else. Second thing, I can declare, I can add any session variable to the session super global. So this is a session super global. Inside that I can add as many add session variables I want. To access the session variable, simply use that same super global echo $session and then the name. Next is I want to check whether session is there or not. So for that I use is set and then the session variable. And to delete a session, there are two ways. I can either individually remove the session variables, or I can destroy the entire session. So this is session. So I can set at one page and I can access on another page. I can destroy it on totally different page. So this is how a global variable is accessible across all the pages. So you can set it at one page, but it will be accessible on other pages also. So this is session. Can we use array elements in super global? So super global itself is an array. After that, if you want to use array, okay, that you can do. So isset is a function which will only check whether this value is there or not. So whether this value is set or not. So if this variable has some value, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So isset returns true or false depending on whether the value exists or not. So whether $_session name exists or not. If it doesn't exist, false. If it exists, true. Session itself is an array where you are adding key value pair. After that, inside that, if you want to add an array, yes, you can add. Okay, let me show you another thing. Page 1, I am again setting the session on page 1. On page 2, I will show you I will print it, the session. So I will write $_session. Okay, and then I will comment this. So on page 1, I have set the session, and on page 2, I'm trying to access, I want to print all the session variables. So let us see how does this look like. So first page 1, so value has been set. Next page 2. So you can see session is a variable array variable basically, where already name and user ID are two associative key value pair. So $_session is nothing but an array, which is predefined. I don't have to redeclare it. Okay, so session is done.
Okay, sir, I have a question. Sir, as you said that it is a predefined. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So why we are at the time of declaration of session, we are making it session name equal to Anup, session user ID equal to 123. Instead of
Yes.
it, can't we make it session and then we can start making key value pairs like earlier we have made with the name and as well as with organization and your age, like we have made an
See,
associative array. So can we make it like that and use?
no, listen.
Yeah.
This is already an array. There
Okay.
I was declaring an array. That's why I was writing $array equal to array, and then inside that I was writing all the values. Now
Okay.
here the array is already declared. It's an empty array in which I am adding values. So this is already initialized array. I'm just adding values.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
If you want to initialize, then you use that notation $session
Mhm.
equal to array, and inside bracket you have to write key values. But this
Mhm.
is already initialized. All you have to do is add values. Now,
Okay, sir.
next part is cookie. So cookie is similar to session, where you can add any variables. But only thing is that cookie is stored on the server side. So it will be in your browser. So to generate a cookie, we use a function set cookie. Now set cookie will take few of the parameters. So first parameter is what is the key, means what is the cookie, and then what is the value, and then any cookie, it is usually valid for a particular time period. Okay, so like some cookie will be for 1 day, some cookie will be for a week, some maybe on month, depending on what website we are using. So second part is expiry, that when will this cookie expire. So time is a function which will return the current time, and plus 3600. So 3600 means basically it is in seconds, so 1 hour, 16 to 60, 1 hour. So from current time, 1 hour more will be my expiry time for this cookie. So the cookie is name, value is Anup, and the expiry is in 1 hour. I can set another cookie in the same way. User ID, value will be 1234, and again user ID will also be valid for 1 hour. So this is the way how I can create a cookie. Remember, cookies are on the client side, means the browser. So if you change the browser, new cookie will be created. So existing cookie cannot be recognized in one another browsers. Now I want to access this cookie. So to access the cookie, again I will use isSet function to check whether the cookie is there or not. So isSet, and then for cookie there is another super global. So $_cookie. So this variable is for storing all the cookies. So $cookie, and then the whatever value we want to access. If it is set, else. Okay, so else I will simply say that cookie is not set, and here I will print the cookie. So to print the cookie, $_cookie, and then the suppose user ID I want to print. So in the each set, I can put any of the cookie, name or user ID. because if any of them is set, it means the other value is automatically set. So I can check is set $cookie and then print the cookie, or otherwise I can say that cookie is not set. So let us run the page 2. So if I directly run the page 2, the cookie is not set. So it will say cookie not set. So first we'll have to go to page number 1, because in the page number 1 we have set the cookie. So I will go to page number 1, run it. Again come back to page number 2, and this time it will print you the cookie value. So it is similar to a session. Only thing is, for creating a different function is there, and for accessing a different super global is there. So just like earlier I printed session, here also I can print this super global, cookie super global. So if I print this, so it is an array where name is Anoop, user ID is 1234, and some PHP session ID it has created. Okay, now let us access this in some other browser. So like I will use Safari. See, initially I am directly executing the page number 2. So page number 2, once it runs for the first time, it will give you an empty array because session cookie has not been created yet. So I will again go to new tab, and first I will run the first page. So localhost / pgdac / page1.php. So page1.php has run. Now we'll come back to page 2 and then run. In this time it will show me the cookies. So name and user ID. So this is how I can create and print a cookie value. Now last thing is how I can delete a cookie. So to delete a cookie, same function is used, set cookie. And this time I will use key as name, which I want to delete. Value I don't want to set. And expiry time, I will set it to time -1. So time -1 means the cookie has expired. So current time -1 means I have set the expiry time in the past. So it means it has already expired. And okay, so let me run page 3 first. So let me run page 3 first. And again, I will come back to page 2. So on page 2, now only 2 will be shown. One was this PHP session ID, which is automatically set. And second one is user ID, because name I have expired. But if you go to this, it will only show. Okay, let me first run the PHP 3. So one is gone. Remaining is showing here, user ID 1234. Okay, so this is how I can create a cookie and delete a cookie. So for creating and deleting, only one function is there, set cookie. Only thing is the time, instead of future, I set it to past for deleting the cookie. Now if you want to see the cookies, another way is cookie editor in Chrome. Okay, now once cookie editor has been added, I can go here and then click on the extension, and it will show you that there is one user ID whose value is 1234. This is my cookie. So if I want to change it, I can change it. So these are the cookies which are there for this domain. Now remember, the cookies are also dependent on the domain. So for localhost, different cookies will be there, and for if I use facebook.com, different cookies will be there. So user, all the cookie variable are dependent on the domain. Okay, so this is how I can create and delete a cookie. So session and cookie are important. Mostly we want to use cookie, session, because session is on the server side, so there is a less chance of tampering. So someone can try to tamper with cookie, but session are more safe because they are saved on the server side. Okay, next. So in HTML, we learned about this files. Now, next part is, in HTMLs, we learned about forms in which I can set some values. Now, the next thing is, how can we get those values on the server side? So, form.php, and then second will be validate.php. So form.php and validate.php. Okay, so in form.php, I will create a form. So form action equal to validate.php, and then method equal to post, and enc type equal to multipart form data. Done. So this is my form. Now first thing is I will use like username or name, and then input type equal to text, name equal to username, placeholder equal to, suppose, enter your name. Then required, if I want the value to be required, means mandatory. So here also I can change name to username, and then password, same input, input type equal to password, name equal to password, and place here enter your password. This is done. Now I will put a line break, and finally I will use a input type equal to submit. So a button for form submission, and value equal to login. So on the button it will show the login. Okay, so this is done. I have created a form with two fields, and I want and now the question is how I can these fields which will go to validate.php, because in the action I have written validate.php. So it will go to validate.php. Now the question is how I can access those values which was entered into the form. So for that, use PHP, and let me first print those array itself. So there is a super global, so it is called request $_request. So $_request is a super global which will print all the key value pair which is coming from the server, from the form. So currently there are only two pairs. One is username and another one is password pair. And in the form I will use auto complete equal to new password, so that it is blank. So localhost / pgdax / suppose I form.php. So it is asking you to enter your username and password. If I directly click on login, it will say please fill in the form, because I have set it to required mode. So suppose my username is Anup and password is cdac123. Okay. Now if I click on login, it will go to validate.php, and on validate.php I am printing the request variable. So it will print the value that has been sent to it. So you can see the value username, what was the username and what was the password, it is showing here. So this is again an array. And how do you access an array? Using their keys. If I change it here, suppose I change the username to something, and then something like that. Then if I click on login, it will print username Ashish and password Pooja123, something like that. So whatever, if I want to get the values, I will use this $_request. Now $_request is like common for both method. If I use get or post, for both method I can access the form parameters using $_request. But if you want to be specific, you should use print_r $_post. So $_post is only for all post variables, not for get variables. So let me go back. So suppose Anup to root123. If I click on login, so since it is a post variable, so it is showing me username Anup and password is root123. Now, if I, instead of post, if I write here get is another super global, which is an array for storing all the get parameters from one page to another. So if I use this, now the array is empty. Why it is empty? Because I sent the form elements using post method. Now I'll go back to this and change the data type to get. Sorry, method of the form to get. Now if I come back to this form.php and I write Anup root123, this time it will print, because I sent the data using get method, and on the validate.php I am using $_get to access those variables. Now if I want to print individual values, so I can, since it is an array and it is an associative array, so I can use $_get, and if I want to print username, I can use username. If I want to print password, so I can use password. Okay, so this is how I can print a username and password independently. So if I rerun this, so you can see Anup is printed and then root123 is printed. I can put a br so that it is printed in next line. So Anup and root123. So instead of printing the entire array, I can print individual values also. So this is how a form field. So from form, if I have sent something, how it will be received on the other page. Now, last important thing. So I will again change it back to post and enc type equal to multiply form data. Now suppose I want to ask user to upload his resume. So dollar input type equal to file and then name equal to resume. So instead, apart from username and password, I have added resume. Now, now you can see username, password, and resume has come where it is asking me to choose file. Okay. Now, since I am sending this all data using post method, so I will use here $_post. So I will use $_post. So username is suppose root, password is admin123, and I will select some file. .pdf and I click on login. Now you can see it here that on I had printed $_post. So now in the $_post array, it is username it is showing, password is also been shown, but the file is nowhere there. So the RWD file that I sent, it is not being shown here. So basically for files, there is another super global. So print _r and then $_files. So in the form, if you are sending files, so files will be shown using, can be shown using this global variable. So $_files. So now you can see that files is showing. So only one file is there with the resume name, with the name resume, and which is an array. And its array, there are multiple things like name, which is rwd.pdf, type, which is application/pdf, then some temporary name. Temporary name is nothing but a temporary location where this file is being stored. Okay, so once the file goes to the server, temporarily it will be stored in some location. Okay. And after we actually save it, it will be dispensed. Next is error. So there is no error. And finally, the size of the file. Okay, so let us now next question is how I can upload the file. So file, So to upload any file, so first thing is a location where I need to save. So suppose I will create a folder, files. So I want to save all my whoever is uploading the file into this files. Second thing is the function. So move underscore uploaded file. So this is the function. So first thing what it will take is the file, and second it will take what is the destination where you are going to save. So from and to. Now from, if you see here, temporarily the file is stored at this location slash private var tmp slash this. So the file when it goes to this server, temporarily it is stored at some place, and then from that place you can move it to another place. So how do I access this value? So to access this value, let me first show you this. So I want to access this value. So how do I access this value? This value. So first thing is this is a two-dimensional array, because there is an array resume inside which another array is there. So at least two, if I want to access it, at least $_files and two dimensions will be there. Okay. Now, if I go to the second dimension, so this value, it comes into tmp_name. So second dimension is for definitely tmp_name. And first dimension, if you go here, this entire array is inside this resume. So this is my first dimension. So this is the temporary location of the file. Another, instead of going to this array and doing it, another way is doing it is that you can directly go to the form and form whatever name is here. This will be the first dimension. So resume will be the first dimension, and second dimension will be tmp_name. This is fixed. Always, whatever file you upload, tmp_name will always be there. So if I change the name here, instead of resume, if I put file1, then automatically here also the dimension will change to file1. But tmp name will always remain the same. Okay, let us see this. So root 1 2 3, and then the file. This time I will use some other file. Login. Okay. So now you can see that the current location, means the temporary location, is being shown here, and you can see here the resume has changed to file1. So that's why I said name was important. So if name changes from resume to file1, here also the first dimension will change. Okay, so now I want to save this file. So move underscore uploaded file, and first is the file name. So the basically the temporary location. So this is the temporary location. So Control X, Control V. And then the second part is, where do I want to save this? So I want to save it inside files folder. So I will write files slash. So file slash is fine, but what will be the name of the file? So I want, either I can create a new name. Okay, so suppose I create a name like Anup.jpg. Okay, so it will save the file using the name Anup.jpg. Let us run this. Done. If I go to my folder files, okay, let me start it. Okay, so if move underscore uploaded underscore files is working, then it should save it into inside that file directory. Now, remember, I am using Linux, okay? And Linux, the most important part is permissions. Now, if I do not have the permissions to write here in the files folder, it won't save the file. So I must have permissions to write inside this file folder. So how to set that in permission, we'll see later. For now, just understand that move underscore uploaded file is for saving a file which has been sent through a form. First parameter, it will take the file location, temporary location, and second is the destination where I need to save the file. Now, instead of using a static file name, because if I use a static file name, it will overwrite again and again. So every time a new file is uploaded, it will overwrite the name. So instead I can use dot the file name itself. So if you see, the name gives the name of the file 001 and .jpg. So I can use the name itself. So I will again repeat this, and instead of tmp name, I will use name. Okay, so this is that. So now the thing is that it will save the file from this temporary location inside the files folder with the name, original name, with the original name, whatever its original name is there. Uh, Now next thing. Now let me, I can also put it inside if loop. So I can put it inside if loop and say, if move underscore uploaded file is successful, then echo file uploaded, else echo error uploading file. So this is how I can check whether the file was uploaded or not. So this is one way of checking the uploading. Let us try. So this is giving me error uploading the file. It means that I could not upload the file, whether it is write permission error or whatever. Due to some error, it could not upload the file. Now, next part is we'll move on to MySQL. So today we won't go through the PHP coding for MySQL, just some basic thing. So for accessing MySQL, mm, okay. So this is what I did was I simply changed the permission of my PGDAC folder to 2777. It means that everybody can write on this folder, and then I simply uh, refreshed the page, and then the file got uploaded. So this was the permission error. Now if I go to files, I can see 001.jpg has come.
Can you please repeat this step?
So I simply went to my command line, and since it is a Linux, I have to change the permission. So for changing the permission, chmod is the command. So chmod minus R is for recursive. So inside pgdac also, if any folder is there, the permission will be applicable on that folder also. So recursively, I change the permission to 777 inside the pgdac folder. Once I did that, I simply refresh the page and the file got uploaded. Now if I go back to form.php and I want to upload another file, so root 123 and then choose file, suppose grid system, login, file uploaded. Okay, if I go to my file folder, you can see grid system also has come. So apart from 001.jpg, grid system has also come. So you won't face this problem in Windows, but in Linux, either permission or ownership should be defined. So like if you are using CentOS, Apache, then you will have to use change ownership to www-data or Apache, depending on what is the daemon that is controlling the service, or simply write chmod 777. But usually it's not a good practice to give full permission on a folder. Okay, so this is the file uploading part is done. Now next is MySQL part. Now if you have installed XAMPP on your system, so automatically MySQL as well as PHPMyAdmin will be accessible. So to access PHPMyAdmin, you can use localhost/PHPMyAdmin. So it will ask for your login, and then once you log in, it will show you the this is basically a GUI for your database, MySQL database. So instead of going to the command line and typing all the commands for creating a table or inserting into a table, all those operations, you can directly do it from here. So like test test database is there. I can go to operations and I can drop the database. So it will delete the database. Okay, or or I can go here and create a test database. So simply write the name of the database and create. Done. A new database has been created. If I want to create a new table inside test, so I have to select where I have to create. So I want to create a database table inside test database. So I will click on test and click here. What is the name of the table? So suppose I want it to be user, and there will be 3 fields. Go. So 3 field, first field, suppose username, second one is email, third one is suppose age. So varchar and integer, and varchar this will be like suppose name is 30 character big, email is also 30, and done, and simply click on save, and your table is ready. So this is your table with 3 fields. If you want to browse, you click on browse, and currently there is no data in this, so it is showing a blank. MySQL returned an empty result sheet. If you want to add data, click on insert and add, like username is Anup, MIS Anup at cdac.in, and then age is suppose 30. Click on go, and 1 row inserted. So if I click on browse, now there will be 1 row inside this table. So this is basically a GUI approach for doing all the operations on the database, MySQL database. Okay, so that's all for today. So tomorrow morning, first we will start with how to insert or retrieve data from database, and then next we'll be using Ajax. So we'll close for now. If you have any question, you can put. So many questions already. So Damini is asking role of cookie. So role of cookie, it's similar to session. So we use cookie for sharing information across all the pages. So I can create any cookie variable like user ID or name on one page and then access it across all different pages. So cookie is also used for checking whether the user is logged in or not. So like I can create a cookie variable logged in, set it to true, and on all other pages I will simply check whether logged in is true or not. So if it is true, it means user is logged in, then show his information, otherwise redirect him to page number, login page. Difference between session and cookie: session is stored on the server side, cookie is stored on the client side. Raksha is asking, session name equal to Anup is defined. How to take it dynamically? Suppose 10% visit the home pages, as you are only showing for only 1%. See, basically session is stored on the server side, but session is maintained for each user. So in my login, my username and user ID will be visible. But in your login, your username and your ID will be visible. Okay. If I change the browser, suppose I change the browser from Chrome to Firefox, again a new session will be created. And for that session, another user ID and username will be created. Okay. So it's not like name is universal for everybody. Name Anup is not universal for everybody. It is only for that user logged in on a particular browser. Okay, Rishabh is asking, move underscore uploaded file is function of PHP. Yes, it is a inbuilt function. Rishabh is asking how to set up pagination with PHP if data is 100 and we want to view 10 per pages. For now, we have not reached that till now. So once we go to this database, how to fetch data from database, then we will see if there are more than a certain more than a certain length of data, like more than 10 rows are there, then we will move on to next page. And for that, only the query will be changed. So if MySQL query, I think you may be aware about limit. So limit is for limiting how many rows will be fetched from the database, from the table. So if I set limit 10, it means at one time only 10 rows will be fetched. Next time I can use limit on another 10 and so on. So we'll see it later on. Once we go through the MySQL functions, we'll see that. Okay, any more question? So session and cookie, again I will repeat, session and cookie are per browser, per domain, per user. So if I change the browser, session will change, cookie will change. If I change the host, Facebook will have different session, Google will have different session. If I on the Facebook itself, if I log in, session will be different. If Ashish logs in, session will be different. Okay. Fine. Then see you all at 2:30. If you have any question, we'll entertain them.